As this is LaserBolt coming at you with another Destiny video, and welcome to today's review of the Steel Medulla. It's a pulse rifle you're able to obtain from the heroic mode, which is the hard mode that just launched yesterday. Very interesting weapon, very interesting perks, and very interesting stats. But let's go ahead and dive into this review. Before we get started, I do want to let you guys know if you find this video helpful and informative, make sure you guys drop a comment and a like. Let's try to hit 200 likes on this video, and let's go ahead and get started and talk about the Steel Medulla and what we can expect out of this weapon and what interesting perks it has and how are its overall stats. So of course we have a nice interesting amount of rate of fire. We'll have a 66 rate of fire. We have a 14 impact. We have a 51 range, stability dropping at 71, and reload speed at 73. After, throughout the video, I will compare it to a couple weapons so you guys can get an overall idea or glance idea of how the weapon performs and what you could expect out of the weapon. Now, based on the starters, this is a hockey archetype weapon. Now, remember, when it's a hockey archetype, it will shoot in 4 bursts. So you got to keep that in mind. It's very different than your regular pulse rifles, kind of your weapons that we come accustomed to that are the 3 bursts. This is a 4 burst weapon. But let's go ahead, talk a little bit about the perks and what you can expect out of this weapon. So, of course, it comes with the Whirlwind's Curse. This weapon does bonus damage against Fallens, bonus agility when this weapon is equipped. So remember, if you're going to be using this against Fallen, then this is going to be a very effective weapon because you're going to be able to produce that extra amount of damage when you're fighting off Fallen. It comes with another interesting perk that we want to talk about. It's full auto. And of course, I would go over the different kind of scopes, the CQ ballistics, the smart drift control, or the smooth ballistics, and which one I would recommend you guys pick up. But we are going to go ahead and give you guys an overview of what perks you guys should pick and which one's not after towards the end of this video. Comes with full auto. This weapon can be fired full auto, so you don't have to be holding down the trigger. You can just hold, tapping the trigger every single time you burst. You can just hold that down and it'll give you a constant flow of fire rate. Now remember, the magazine size is 36, so it has a nice extensive magazine size for the weapon. It also comes with high caliber rounds. These are going to be very effective when fighting off different sorts of enemies, especially when you're trying to hit them and make them stagnant. Especially with bosses, it'll have you stagger them just a tad bit. It comes with speed reload, means you'll be able to reload this weapon a lot quicker. And the last perk, Hand Light Stock, giving you that max stability but losing that drop off in the range. Of course, its main perk is the Sign of 4. What this means, it's landing 3 bursts on a target causes the 4th burst to do extra damage. So this was the perk I do want to have a little talk about and kind of give you guys an overview about how this perk works. So this is what makes the weapon very interesting, because the Sign of 4 perk will give you the advantage of giving that 4th bullet, giving you that extra damage. So the 4th burst will give you that extra damage. Now when it says burst, it doesn't mean that you're going to fire 4 bullets or you're firing 3 bullets. A burst is pretty much 3 bullets within 1 burst. So that's 1 burst, and then that's another burst. So on the 4th burst that you fire the weapon, you will be dealing bonus damage. Now, I did a couple calculations around what figure of amount of bonus damage you're doing. You're doing about 30% more damage within that perk. One thing I do want to let you guys know, though, since the magazine size is so big, you're going to be able to prong the Sign of 4 ability 2 times for each individual magazine size. So for every single magazine size that you have, you'll be able to get this extra damage. Now, this makes the weapon very effective because when you're fighting against bosses or yellow bar targets or, pretty much ads, it's going to help you to actually bring down their shields down and stack the weapons. It's not so effective when just fighting regular enemies, because if you're shooting regular enemies, you're not going to be pronging the Sign of 4 ability, but it becomes really effective when you're actually fighting bosses or yellow bar enemies. So do keep that in mind. It makes it very effective and very tactical to use, especially against bosses, because you go have that great range, that great stability. Plus you get that extra 30% of bonus at each 4th. Remember, you're able to double that, so you get a total of 60% bonus damage when you just shoot 1 magazine size, which makes it very effective when doing the raid or when playing strikes. Now, as far as if this weapon is actually very good in PvP, this weapon is not particularly made for PvP. It's a PvE monster, but it's not its primary focus is not a PvE weapon. This weapon is mostly going to be used for PvE. As you guys remember, even just the sense of this weapon just being a hockey archetype, it's going to make it where it's not that effective for PvE. So I wouldn't be taking it into PvP. but for PvE, it is a definitely must-have weapon. Now, do keep in mind, when I tested this out within the raid, when we did the hard mode, it pretty much two-burst the shanks, so you guys can kind of get an idea if you're using any other sort of weapon, how effective the weapon is. Now, the best weapon I could probably compare this to, and I know a lot of people are going to be comparing it to, is the Outbreak Prime, kind of seeing in reference of not only how well it works and how different it is from the Outbreak Prime. As far as output damage, of course, your Outbreak Prime is going to do extensive more damage just because of its ability perk, which is the Consumption Spreads, which is the Nanonites. That ability just pretty much, does so much damage. It's even as to par to say with the Gallahorn damage of the output of the Outbreak Prime. One knockoff that I do have on this weapon, it's low aim assist. It is dropping at 36. Want to compare it with the Outbreak Prime? The Outbreak Prime starts with an aim assist of 66. The Stellar Medulla only has a 36 aim assist. Now, as far as attack is concerned, this one, you're able to get this one to drop from the hard mode, heroic mode, up to 400, depending on your light level. So you guys kind of get an idea of how high of a level you're able to drop. I know there's been a lot of speculation it doesn't drop that high. Yes, it does drop to 400. Another cool thing about this weapon, compared to the Outbreak Prime, its impact is 9. The Outbreak Prime is at 7. So you do get a little sense of, comparison right there, back and forth to which one is really effective. One other plus note that I do want to point out for the Medulla, compared to the Outbreak Prime, it's its range. Its range is at 46, giving you that extra range, as opposed to the Outbreak Prime giving you that 37 range. But we do see the drop off right there when it comes to the to the aim assist. Another thing I do want to let you guys know is that the recoil direction is a little bit it has a little bit more stability in a sense of the Outbreak Prime. You're going to be able to hit that critical shot over and over just because it has really good stability compared to the Outbreak Prime. And that's the best weapon I could probably compare it to, as far as, if you guys have been trying both weapons within the hard mode. I did take this into hard mode. I did take this into strikes to see how well it fares off. One cool thing I do want to let you guys know, though, that not a lot of people have pointed out, this weapon gives you a warning, or kind of gives you a sign letting you know that the sign of 4 has pronged. If you notice, every time you're shooting ads, you will see the little Siva emblem showing up, knowing that that 4th hit has been pronged. And I'll go ahead and show you guys right here on screen so you guys can get an in-depth look. So now that when you shoot the weapon, you know that you actually pronged that perk that give you that ability, the sign of 4. But there you have it, guys. That is my review of the Stellar Medulla. Definitely a very, very worthy opponent in any PvE aspect, especially against Fighting Fallen. Let me know your overall opinion about the weapon, if you guys like it or if you guys don't like it. And don't forget, guys, if you want to stay up to date to all things Destiny, make sure you keep it locked on this channel, and I will catch you guys on the next video.